Hey, everybody. I'm so glad you guys are here tonight. Welcome to 5 things to get you through the holidays, because grief, as we know it, does not take a holiday. It is so hard this time of year. Let me give you guys a little backstory. I met and married the love of my life. And here comes his cute, amazing picture. And everything was great. We had 3 little babies, and life was rocking and rolling. We were busy, and then we got hit with some really hard news. Terminal cancer came our way, and it rocked our little atmosphere, and we had to learn really hard that plans don't turn out as we hope and dream and expect, and you have to roll with it and go different ways. Tragically, my sweet husband, he passed away in September of 2015. And we soon learned that those 2 months later, what grief during the holidays meant for us. Grief during the holidays are hard. So many people are so excited to get their trees up and they're ready to deck the halls. And sometimes all we want to do is deck people who want to deck the halls. It is hard. So I wanted to give you guys some tips, because we just want to climb in our house and shut our doors and pretend that the holidays aren't here. And I call that the Scrooge it stage. We want to just Scrooge it and ignore the holiday. We have to be true to ourselves and true to our situations. Everybody's situation is unique. Your grief journey is unique. So take whatever I can give you that incorporates into your life and work in, and some things might not, and that's okay. So let's start with my 5 tips that will help you get through the holidays. Number 1, before you assess any changes, what's going on, how long ago was your loss? If it is really fresh and this is your very first holiday season, that's going to look different than a couple years down the road. Grief also looks different for different ages and stages. And my advice is listen to your heart. Grief isn't something you just plow through and dream and hope that one day you'll get over it. It's extremely unique to each individual, and it's a lifelong process. One thing that I love is people say, how long are you going to grieve? And it's like, how long are they dead for? Like, you grieve in different ways, in different stages your entire life, because we love them. And it's important to remember everybody's grief is different. So what worked for your Aunt Susan's uncle's brother's neighbor is not going to work for you. It might not. And that's okay. You need to just check in with yourself and marinate in your feelings and really let that guide you in what you do this holiday season. So number 1, this is painful and this is hard, but decking the halls. It's crazy because so many people think that it's exciting for everybody. Until you've experienced a loss, it is crazy to think and wrap your mind around that a Christmas tree might actually hurt somebody's feelings. So my tips and advice with number 1, decking the halls, is let your family help you set up your decorations. When Clint first passed away, the thought of getting the tree out, because he loved Christmas. He loved to decorate. He loved to bring all the stuff from the garage. So not only did I have to face one of his favorite holidays, I had to face loading all the stuff in myself and trying to be happy while I have my kids there and pretend like, yay, let's deck the halls. And really, I just want to crawl in a hole in my bedroom, but I couldn't do that. So let people help you. I had some family members and friends show up and put up my Christmas stuff. And I was in tears because there was no way I'd want to do it myself. So if you are listening and you have a family member that or a friend that has lost somebody and you kind of don't really know what to do, you can help them set up their Christmas stuff. At least offer. The worst thing they could say is no. But maybe they'll say yes. And you'll be an answer to a prayer and just a dreading situation that they won't have to deal with. You never know until you ask. So that's my advice with going through with widows and anybody who's lost somebody. Check in with them. Ask. Because if they're dreading setting up their tree, they probably need you. So think about that. If you have little people in your life, you need to show up for them. You need to have them around, helping them be around, helping them set up, letting them help you set up. But let's be honest, when a little sweet kid is looking at you and they're so excited for Christmas, it's really hard to not let that love, encouragement, enthusiasm marinate around you. That's what was my saving grace through my first holiday season, was those that love me and support me being around me. And it's very difficult for widows and widowers who have little people because we can't really honor those feelings of grief and shut down. We can't say, oh, you know what? I don't want to put the tree up. We could, but should you if you have little kids? No, you can't. You have to just get up, show up, and move forward. When you have little babies and little people in your home, it's hard. So it is a case-by-case basis for grief. Marinate, let it simmer, and see what works for you in your situation. Check in with yourself. Honor where you're at. It's okay to deviate. If you normally, when Aunt Susie was alive or your mom was alive, you went all out for Christmas and you put up the train and you changed all your decorations and the whole 9 yards. And this year, all you could barely do is even get a tree up. That's okay. That's completely okay. Give yourself that grace to know you can deviate from the plan. Just because it's happened before doesn't mean it has to happen now. So be gentle with yourself and realize it's okay to change and pivot. So this year's holiday season can look different. And that is completely okay. All right. The next one. This one's holiday traditions. This one's difficult. And my advice would be, do what works for you now. Do you stick with previous traditions? Let's ask those questions. What are the traditions you're having a hard time with? What things do you normally do that you don't know if you can do? Let me give you a big, huge tip. Congratulations, you don't have to do any traditions you didn't want to do before. This is your opportunity to have a do-over for the holidays. If you didn't like that one activity, it's okay. You don't have to do it. Create new ones. I know when my husband passed away, there were things that were painful, that it was like a gaping hole if we were to go through with that tradition. And I just had to pivot and totally ignore that tradition and do something altogether different. And throughout time, that has helped us adapt and alter and change and try new things. And that is completely okay to do. People from the outside are going to want to give you advice and tell you, oh, you need to do that. You always make those caramels that your mom used to make with you. Well, my mom's not here and I don't want to make those. That's okay. If you've lost somebody in your life that has been an anchor to that tradition, maybe you honor that memory, you honor that past, but you don't have to do that moving forward. You can give yourself that permission to let that go and let that be in a memory. It's up to you. You can choose, you can decide how you're going to alter or change or start new traditions. And if people want to give you input, they can, but no, you don't have to take their advice, including my own. Kids and the holidays. This is difficult. Obviously, losing somebody is so hard, and little people, it's so hard for them. They grieve differently as well. I have 3 different kids. Each one of them grieves differently. But you know what? After Clint passed away, and I have seen this through so many friends and acquaintances that have been in a grief roller coaster, kids still want to look forward to the holidays. They still want to write their Christmas lists. They still want to put up Christmas lights and decorations. So I would check in with your situation, your family, your little people, and see what works this year for them. Because what I did year 1 from when we lost Clint to what I do year 3, 4, 5, it looks different. And it's okay. You can adapt, grow, and change through each year, each stage. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. And don't worry. My number 4. You guys like how I put a cop car here because I can relate so hardcore to this. Because sometimes family says and does things that are unrealistic for your grief and your expectations. And really, instead of decking the halls, you just want to deck your family member. And to bypass the family decking, number 1, you have to remember they're trying to help you. They're trying to fix you. Grief from the outside looks like, oh no, what can we do? I need to intervene and stop her from being sad or stop them from hurting. But people on the outside, that's what grief is. It's okay. Invite us. Give us your advice. But if we don't take it, don't be offended. Because we don't want to offend you. But we might say and do some offensive things during the holidays because it is so completely outrageously hard. So give yourself a free pass. And I love that. Check in. If you can't handle it right now, if you obviously with the situations, the way it is with the world, you opt out and not have to go to those family parties. I remember after Clint passed away and Christmas rolled around, we had this big annual tradition, all my siblings, and none of the kids went. It was like an adult-only Christmas party. We brought crazy white elephant gifts. And I remember going to that with like this pit in my stomach of why. And all my family, were urging me to go. And we ate. And then I just went in the bathroom and I just bawled my eyes out. It was so hard. So it's okay if you don't want to go to those parties. And right now, congratulations. It's a bittersweet that you can opt out and avoid those right now because it's difficult. It's tender and it's hard. And if you need to mitigate exposure and those times that you don't have to spend with people that might be irritating to you, this is your excuse. You can easily say, I'm not feeling it right now. This is a hard time for me. Please give me my space. And please, people, if you are watching and you are one of those people looking from the outside at someone that's grieving on the inside, invite us, encourage us, but don't get mad at us. And don't give us expectations of what you think our grief should be looking like. Don't give us expectations of how you think we should go through the holidays. If it doesn't feel good to us, please respect us. But it might take some urging to get us to do some things. But if we really don't want to do something, don't get offended if we reply back, not very kindly sometimes, but still love us and know that our hearts are broken and we might not be filling up to doing what you think we should be doing. And remember, everybody's grief journey is unique and different, and it looks different for everybody. If you lost a mother or a father this holiday season, your grief's going to look different than someone who's lost a spouse or someone who's lost a child. It is so individualized and customized for the person who's going through the grief. Just show up for them, invite them, and love them. But don't give them expectations of what you think their grief should look like during the holidays. So, next slide is number 4. And I know people joke about this, like, oh my gosh, let's get on some medication. My tips for that is, 1, talk to a medical professional to see what's best for you. After Clint passed away, I had my nurse reach out to me and say, hey, what can we do? What medication can we put you on? Do you need this? Do you need that? And I sat there and I was listening on the phone. And I remember being in a Costco, pushing my cart and trying to wrap my mind around the fact that why am I not allowed to be sad right now? Like, people want to fix you. People want to give you a solution, something to help. And you might need that. Talk to someone who knows. But for me at that time, I've loved since, as I've gone through and read about grief, remember, depression is a natural response to a loss. It's not the same as being diagnosed with depression. But if you're sad and you don't want to get out of bed and you don't feel like decking the halls and trimming the tree and making the turkey, guess what? You're totally, completely normal. There is nothing wrong with you. And you know what? In all honesty, there would be something wrong with you if you weren't extremely sad. If you didn't have those feelings of loss and yearning and aching, that's normal. And I remember, and I'm sitting there walking past the tuna fish down the Costco aisle, and I didn't want to take medication. And I didn't end up taking medication, but I could sleep at night. I would lay awake at night and I would bawl. I couldn't sleep. So I ended up after that, us mamas, when mamas ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So after a while, I was like, I have got to sleep. So that's when I did reach out to a medical professional and get on a sleeping medication. So what works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for somebody else. So remember and keep that in mind, that medications are highly unique and individual to the person. And if somebody suggests, like, man, you're really sad, you've been in bed for a while, and you're grieving, and this is your fresh, brand new Christmas, new Thanksgiving without that close loved one, what do they expect from us? Like, I don't get it sometimes. I think people, they want it, that we're in the society of fix, fix, fix. We need to fix you. Oh, you're sad. Oh, you're crying. Oh, we got to get it to stop. But grief, each year is a drop of love. And you'll see that coming up. I even made it in a slide because it's true. We loved him so much. And how could we not be sad? And even to this day, this will be 5 years this is our 5th year since Clint passed away. And Wyatt, my 9-year-old, who's now 9, he will cry in his bed like once a week that he misses his dad. And we always say to each other, each tear, and then Wyatt finishes the sentence, is a drop of love. So don't be so quick to turn those tears off. Don't be so quick to feel the pressure to hurry and grieve and then get over it. Because grieving is a lifetime quest. Grieving is a lifetime, and I don't want to say sentence, but it is the price we pay for love. And when we love somebody so much, we're going to be sad and we're going to really miss them. And know people who are grieving right now, everybody's going to want to try and fix you. Take what they say with a grain of salt and do what works for you. Because guess what? If you get forced and shoved to do what everybody thinks you should do, you're just going to stuff that grief, and it's going to come out in a bad way down the road. So if you feel that urge bubbling up, like, I'm going to drown in tears right now, go ahead, let it out. Tears are not bad. They are not bad. And grieving is not bad. Grieving is not something that you have to just be pushed through. And those emotions you're feeling, sit in those emotions. Feel those emotions. Because that's the price we pay for love. And as we acknowledge those feelings, and as those grief and memories come up and we talk about it and we think about it, and those emotions can move through us. But if we don't, and we just bottle it up and suck that tear back in, like Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs, that movie, the policeman, that's like, get that tear back in there, tear sucks back up his face. But it's like, we can't do that, because if we do that, it's just going to build and build and build and build. So bring it up, let it out, let it go. And don't worry about people's expectations, and don't get offended. It's really easy to get offended when you're going through grief, because people say really crazy, dumb, hurtful, mean things. And know that Clint and I had to get to the point, because with a terminal cancer diagnosis, people say some really mean things too, that they don't mean to be mean or not comforting at all. Like, I don't know if you've been through this, but a cancer story, if you have cancer or an illness that's common, people know about, oh, so-and-so's uncle's brother's dog's friend, they died from that. And you're just like, really? Oh, that's too bad. And we had to get our kids down and go, okay, if somebody says something that's mean or hurtful, it took them courage to say anything at all. Because think of how nerve-wracking that is to go up and say something to somebody that's going through something hard. So we had to learn through a terminal cancer diagnosis, which then spilled into grief, our grief journey. You can't take offense to people's comments, because they're just diarrhea of the mouth. Sometimes it just comes out and they don't know what to say, so they say not the smartest of things. So be gentle, be kind, and be quick to give people grace in those situations, because they're going to want to try and fix us. But check in with your heart, listen to your heart. All right, let's see. That leads me to number 5. Give yourself grace. So important. For the love. Do not get upset with yourself. Do not be devastated or mad that you don't feel like getting up and doing what you normally have done when the person you love was here. It doesn't make sense at all that you would set those standards upon you right now, because your life is completely different. With your life being completely different, you need to give yourself grace. You need to remove all expectations, because this is a whole new ball game. Your life has completely changed. So why would you keep doing the same things? You don't have to do that. So if people are putting expectations on you, don't give in to that. Don't be upset, or don't beat yourself up. Oh man, I'm a loser. I don't feel like doing this. What's wrong with me? I am not the same person I used to be. Guess what? You are not the same person that you used to be. Give yourself permission to feel and move through the grief. Those loved ones would want you to find joy. They would want you to feel that happiness and love. Give yourself grace, y'all. Give yourself grace. You cannot expect yourself to go in the hall, talk to Santa, get all the right gifts, make all the right treats, make your mom's cheese ball, get your dad's favorite pecan pie, like whatever it is that you think Christmas or Thanksgiving or Hanukkah looked like before that loss. Drop that expectation. Let it go. Free yourself of that, because you need that grace. You're in a period in your life right now where you have so much emotion and heartache and just a melting pot of a hot mess going around that you do not need to layer on guilt. You don't. So give yourself permission to let go of the guilt. Let it go, because you don't need to house that. You don't need to have that with you. You don't. Give yourself the grace. So if there's any comments before those comments tonight, I want to tell you guys that this 5 tips to get you through the holidays is just one part. This is actually part of week 4 in my 6-week program, Grow Through Your Grief. It starts this coming Tuesday, November 17th. It's 12 spaces available, and then you'll be getting a digital, downloadable, printable workbook, just similar to working through all the issues that grief bubbles up and spills over into your life. If you know someone that's going through a hard time and you're wondering what you could possibly do to help them, you could also do this as a gift. So you could give this gift to somebody, or a gift to yourself. It's so hard to know what to do. And again, in that 6-week live virtual course, we're going to have a private Facebook group for connection in between meetings. We're going to have a weekly live interaction with the group and with me, and a downloadable, interactive, awesome workbook. And again, you can check all this out on CamilleBauer.com for more information or to sign up. If you want to message me, you can do that. If you want to schedule a quick call, if this is a fit for you, we could absolutely do that. If you're not quite sure, hit me up and we'll see, because getting through the holidays is what I want to do, is help you do that with grace and love and be able to not dread it, because you can find joy, you can find peace. Do you have somebody in your life that is in need of this program and they can't make it work? I'm also doing 3 scholarship spots. I want to give back and I want to help those out there that are going through hard times too. So if you know someone or you yourself want to apply for one, you can email my team